This video is about showing you how to solder these wires, like really fine wires. And I have a RT300 FES cycle from Restorative Therapies. These wire harnesses cost $407 brand new, and there's such fine wires inside the insulation that they're constantly breaking. So we've learned that we can repair them by getting replacement electrode wires off of eBay for next to nothing and repairing them ourselves. You gotta use this flux on the wires so that it absorbs the solder when you're doing it. I just got a cheap soldering kit for like $12 from eBay. And then I got some soldering tips. I got one that's flat. It's like a screwdriver, that's a flat screwdriver. And if you puddle a little bit of solder on top of that flat spot, you can hold it there and then put it on your wire easier. So you just kind of paint it on from the bottom. The hardest part about all of this is getting those wires lined up parallel with each other so that they can be touching while you're soldering. There you can see she's putting the solder on the flat spot, getting a nice puddle, and then she just paints it on the bottom. And with that flux on there, it just pretty much sucks it right up. Give it a little tug test to make sure that it's holding. And you don't want to expose those wires to too much heat, otherwise they get brittle and they'll break easily. They won't last very long. We'll have to do this again. I use the Restorative Therapies FES cycle on my legs and my abdomen. And I have a C4 spinal cord injury from a motorcycle accident. And loosen those wires, you just gotta barely touch them and it'll melt that solder and you can pull it away like she did right there. I just get these replacement electrode wires off eBay for like $7. And we just measure how much we need off there and cut the end off, and we're good to go for a while again. Also with these fine wires, there's like 8 strands of wire in each of these electrodes. And you gotta just about have to use these wire strippers. I got them for cheap on eBay as well. They were like 15 bucks. But they clamp down on the wire and they pull it, and you can set, there's a little knob where you can set the tension and how tight it clamps on the wire. But you also have to kind of hold the jaws shut sometimes because they don't want to clamp such a small wire. These heat shrink tubes have an adhesive in them, and when you get them hot and shrunken, that adhesive squirts out and it really holds them and sticks good. And here we go again, one more time. So get the solder on the flat spot of the iron, go underneath and just paint it on. And that little solder stand came in the kit with the soldering iron, the flux, some solder, and it has a magnifying glass too, but we don't use that. Give it a little tug test to make sure it works. And right here we're trying to show you what we're fixing. So here's the end of the wire that always breaks, and that little right there is where it always breaks, and it gets pulled on when they're pulling the wires off of the pads, and it separates those little teeny wires inside that insulation, and it just won't work. So you got to replace the ends all the time. And here I just wanted to show you, we figured out if you put the soldering iron in like a canning jar, it works pretty good to keep it hot and from burning things. And there you can see all the wires were replaced on that harness. And here I'm just going to show you my FES cycle and what it looks like and what I'm talking about. So I put my legs on there and hook up 12 electrodes on my legs and glutes, and I pedal that bike. So I do have a new harness, but I'm trying to use up the old one as much as I can since they are so expensive.